I stand here today because of an expert team of doctors at the Austin Hospital and a clinical trial which saved my life. At the time, I'd recently given birth to my second child at 32 years of age. I was running my sports medicine business and adjusting to life as a wife and mum of two small children, as I'm sure you can all relate to this. What was thought to be pregnancy-related asthma, then bronchitis, ended with a trip to the emergency department of the Austin Hospital 13 months later from coughing up blood continuously for 3 days straight. It was there I was told if they can't stop the bleeding in my lungs, there was nothing more they could do for me. My instant response was, let's do this. Despite being in a critically ill state, I never doubted my future. I had far too much to live for and was in the hands of some of the best medical professionals in their fields. Fast forward 4 years, and here I am, living with stage 4 ALK-positive lung cancer, the product of excellent care, innovative targeted therapy drugs, and precision medicine. And whilst we are here today to talk about immunotherapy, my focus will be more broadly on what is truly important to the patient in their care. Firstly, patients need options. They need treatment options. As a patient, it's really exciting to see the landscape of treatments for lung cancer changing so rapidly, and particularly how immunotherapy may fit into that. Having options buys us valuable time that we may not have otherwise had and gives us hope. Hope to enjoy magical holidays in Disney World. Hope to see my son play his first basketball and football games next year. Hope to see my daughter get married one day, and hope to create lasting memories with my husband. Without options, none of this is possible, and our security blanket is ripped away, leaving us vulnerable. Then we need access to those options. In my opinion, there's no point having options if we can't access them. A few years ago, I met with the Federal Health Minister to plead my case, and my message was very clear. You shouldn't have to be lucky or rich to access drugs in Australia when you need them. Unfortunately, when drugs are not listed on our PBS, it leaves some patients no other option but to self-fund these drugs at a cost of approximately $100,000 per year. And I question whether, over time, is it realistically sustainable to, absorb those costs? And for the ones who can't, it often results in lives lost. The drug and regulatory landscape to access to drugs is a huge barrier that many patients and clinicians have to try and overcome. As a lung cancer community, we need to ensure our collective efforts continue to drive policymakers towards listing drugs where the evidence is sound. No one deserves to lose their life prematurely purely because they can't access a drug when they need it. On the other side of the fence, we have clinical trials, cutting-edge therapies that have proven over the years why they are a game changer and the reason why I'm still here today. Patients value and are actively looking for clinical trials, but are finding it challenging and confusing. There are multiple websites, none of which are consistent in the trials they list or search methods that they use. So unless you either have a doctor directly involved in the research networks, know which websites to search on, or happen to enter the exact algorithms that match the terms listed on those sites, you are left stranded. We desperately need more doctors routinely talking to patients about clinical trials as a potential option to help bridge this gap. Being involved in the development of a patient-driven initiative, the Think Tank event, with Research for Me earlier this year, allowed for all the key stakeholders in the room an opportunity to shine a spotlight on the issues faced by patients, carers, researchers, and those that provide information about clinical trials in Australia. Our report outlines the recommendations, which we hope at some point will lead to improved outcomes, more streamlined access. We as patients want information and truly value medical research. But where is the value if we can't find clinical trials when we need them most? Managing toxicities when considering combination therapies is also a challenge. But in the context of someone's life, what does it really mean? For 3 years, I chose a drug with higher toxicity, knowing that the evidence showed it could potentially prolong my life more than the next best option. But 4 years later, I questioned whether mentally, emotionally, and psychologically, I could, and physically, I could endure the same sort of strain that I had to for the past 3 years. Whilst it's important to be mindful not to underestimate the length the patient will go to in order to survive, it's equally as important to remember that circumstances change and the choices patients make at diagnosis may well be very different over time. Taking the time to understand what is important to the patient in their care is absolutely crucial. My medical team have always known that I want to be well-informed, directly involved in the decision-making process, and take a proactive approach where possible. They know and respect that at the end of the day, every discussion we have will be with my husband and children in the forefront of my mind. Each time we make a good decision is another day longer. My husband has me as his wife, and my children have me as their mum. And regardless of whether my oncologists think they know what I want, they always take the time to ask and never assume, something I truly value and respect. Because my team have taken the time to understand my needs, it has helped me to build trust in their decision-making and helped to reassure me that they have my back when I need it most. Each and every day I am kept alive by my current targeted therapy is another opportunity for medical research to evolve and gaps in patient care to be filled, giving patients like me the hope we are so desperately looking for. Thank you.